My guest today is Victoria Grasela, the Director of Marketing for the United Way of Greater New Bedford. She is joining us to discuss a new affinity organization within the United Way, Women United, and an upcoming fundraiser being planned for April. She'll tell us how you can get involved in the power of the purse, which is the title of that fundraiser. Victoria, good to see you again.
Jim, thank you so much for having me on today.
What is the women's group within the United Way, and why was it formed? Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, so United Way, as you know, Jim, is a big network of United Way. So we're all pretty individual. We can run our own affinity groups or programs or projects that as we see fit for our community. United Way itself has about 1,200, I guess you would call them chapters almost, across the country and worldwide. Women's United is becoming more and more widespread throughout this network. They're in about 165 communities, and we felt that it was important to bring it here to our community. Women United is basically a network of women who recognize and encourage exceptionally in their ability to bring about positive change in the community.
Okay, so those are a nice group of words, but what's the real mission here? You're looking to help women in the community, is that
Well,
it?
so no, it's women coming together to create that change. So our Women United Affinity Group, specifically in Greater New Bedford, will focus on early childhood development and literacy programs in the area.
All right, and so you're starting a fundraiser. You've planned a fundraiser for April 25th, and it's called Power of the Purse.
Yes.
It sounds like... Well, it sounds
it's
like
a little bit
fundraiser.
of a play on. Yeah, it's a little bit of a play on words.
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's going to be April 25th, as you said, at 6 to 9 p.m. at the Whaling Museum, and it's going to be specifically geared towards women. Of course, you know, a few brave men are welcome to attend as well. But you know, the basic. You know, the event itself is really this fabulous purse auction. So we're looking to have an auction full of high-end purses. And what's great about having it as an auction means that you can come in and get, you know, maybe a $500 purse for $150. So that money then gets donated into the cause and helps us fund these programs that we have in the pipeline, while you get something pretty to wear.
That's right. Now, look, there is a... New Bedford, it's I guess it's well known, but it's not probably well known. There have been purse making factories in New Bedford in the past.
Yes.
And I think there's still like tent sales.
Yes.
During the summertime.
Yep.
Are you going to get donated materials to sell here? How is that all going to work?
Yes. So we've been approaching some of the local companies who make purses and then some nationally as well to donate some of these items to the auction. So that way it brings our costs down so more money can go back into the community. That's always the hope with United Way. So we are and will be approaching more of them in the coming weeks. We also have a great committee that's chaired by Wendy Joblin and Sarah Korolnik, who are really helping to spearhead the initiative and help us find some local stores that are interested in donating or sponsoring to help us make this such an awesome event.
Now, there's going to be, besides the purse auction, which is,
it's
big
pretty
deal,
awesome.
And there are people who will pay substantial money.
Yep.
I'm going to say big money, but I'll say substantial money for a purse.
Yes.
But there'll be some other things happening there, too. There'll be some things to eat, things to drink.
Yep. We'll, the Whaling Museum is a great space to have an event. It's perfect for what we're looking for. So there'll be, a lot of hors d'oeuvres. There's a cash bar. We're going to have some live entertainment. We're working on securing that now. So I don't have those details just yet. But, the hope is to have a live musician there on site, keeping us entertained throughout the night. And then also each guest is going to get a complimentary cocktail on their way in the door. Not a cocktail, I'm sorry, a champagne on the way in the door.
All right, so this is April 25th, 6 to 9 at the Whaling Museum.
Yes.
The affinity group of the United Way, Women United, is staging the fundraiser. And so some folks might say, well, what will happen to the money that's raised?
Right. So we are still in the process of deciding which programs to fund. United Way, with all its funding that we take in, we form a committee that then makes those decisions. So that will be the next step. Is once we know how much money we have, we'll start, making those decisions of where it's going. The hope is to do some literacy programming in the area. It's so important for early childhood education to have books readily available for children. So that is the hope. Is we've been talking about some of those programs to get more books in the hands of kids throughout Greater New Bedford.
And childhood development as well.
Yes.
So this money may be spent and distributed to existing organizations?
It may, yes. Yeah. It may be the case. Like I said, we're still exploring some options. We've been in contact with some national programming as well that we may be joining up with to spread books through the community.
Mm-hmm. And how can folks get tickets to this event?
Yep, so tickets are available by calling us at 508-994-9625, or you can go onto our website at unitedwayofgnb.org, and you'll see right on the main page that Power of the Purse is right there, so you can go on and get your tickets. The website is also a great resource to learn more about Women United, and if you are interested in joining us at either the event or with our Women United initiatives, please feel free to give us a call as well. We're happy to have you on board.
Let's explain, explore that a little bit.
Yeah.
I know you talked about it earlier, but the mission of the women's group is really to, as you've stated, really is to help in the community.
Yes. Yeah, that's the goal of United Way all the time.
Sure.
This is just a specific niche that we're looking into to focus on children, whereas our other programming throughout the year focuses on everyone. This is just a little bit more specific.
All right. You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. My guest, Victoria Grasela, Director of Marketing for the United Way of Greater New Bedford. And the United Way does more than hold a fundraiser and form affinity groups. It does. It really stepped up to the forefront recently when you, helped families who came here from Puerto Rico, who came to New Bedford following Hurricane Maria.
Yes.
United Way did take the lead in some respects, helping those families, stepping up. Were you called to action on this, or did you say, hey, we gotta get going, help out? How did that all happen?
I think it was a little bit of both. We're always willing to do whatever we can to help the emerging needs in the community. Our United Way hosts its own family center right in our building on Union Street, where families can come year-round. We're open some Saturdays. There's evening groups where parents can get support for their children or find resources like housing or food or clothing or any basic need, really. We can help assist with that. As a family center, we're part of a bigger network of family centers, and the state had approached all of the family centers and say, hey, would you be a point of entry contact for these families coming in for Hurricane Maria? So, without even blinking, we said, of course, we are happy to do what we can to help these families settle down.
Mm-hmm. And so what was that process like? You were part of it to some degree. Did folks come in right away? And how many folks have you seen? All of those kinds of things.
Yeah, so families came in. I think we saw our first one probably in September. So on staff, we have some family support workers who traditionally work with any client who walks in to help them find these basic needs they need. All of a sudden, we started to notice this influx before we became the point of entry, and so it was just a natural flow that we were helping with this. So since September, we have helped 209 families, which is made up of 302 adults and 248 kids. So it's quite a bit of people coming into this area that need the housing, they need things to put in the house, they need electricity, they need food, they need clothing, they need the kids in school. So it's helping them navigate through the system and getting them what they need.
In other words, pointing them towards other agencies
Yes.
that might be able to provide you with some of these things, like,
Yes.
for instance, to pay utility bills,
Yes.
that would be PACE, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of questions. So You've assisted more than 200 families.
Yes.
And are you still seeing families coming in, Victoria?
We are. They are still coming in strong. We're not sure when that influx of folks will come, will stop, but we are happy to continue on board as this point of entry contact for them coming in as long as they need it. We also just recently in January got 3 disaster case managers who sit in our office, and they help those families. So one of the other challenges is, yes, our family support workers do speak Portuguese and Spanish, but it became such a heavy caseload for them that we needed some additional support. So we have these 3 folks that speak Spanish, which is clearly the need with these people coming in, and they're designated to specifically help these folks navigate through the FEMA benefits, so they can find disaster relief services. They can find some money out there to help them start new, basically. So we will continue with that indefinitely until the need subsides.
Is there follow-up? How are these families doing that came in September?
They're doing well. Some of the families that came in were living in motels or with other family members. So that's a question we get often is, how did these families end up in New Bedford, of all places? A lot of them had family that was already here, and the family said, hey, get out of there, come live with us. But then it became a burden in the housing, and some landlords, were just concerned about the amount of people in the house. So, now they're looking for that. So our first families that came in and were living in hotels are now set up in housing, whether it's in New Bedford Housing Authority or with landlords throughout the city. So they're doing well. They're getting on their feet. We've done everything from finding them furniture, whether it's mattresses or sofas or desks for the kids to write on. We've had some folks step up to the plate and say, hey, I have this in my house, I'm getting rid of it, can you take it? Or we've had stores like DeMello's Furniture that donate beds as well. So it's been a great showing of community support for our new community members, and it's been wonderful.
Well, it certainly has, and you're still seeing some families.
Yes, they're still coming in. We're still getting new intakes every day from them, and we're not sure when that's going to subside.
Yeah, has it slowed somewhat?
It has been a little bit slower. I mean, we got a bigger influx of folks right before the holidays, so it's slowing down. But I don't know if that's true. I mean, next week we could get more people than we thought. So.
All right, my guest, Victoria Grasela, Director of Marketing for the United Way. We want to talk one more time about this fundraiser that's happening, put on by Women's United, which is an affinity organization with the United Way. Women United, the fundraiser is called Power of the Purse, and it is a purse auction, frankly. Yes. That's what it's really, the gist of it is. It's being held April 25th at the Whaling Museum. Now, folks should understand it's really more than that. Mm-hmm. Fill in the blanks here about this fundraiser.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more. At the end of the day, you may be bidding on a purse, but you're really going to be supporting early childhood development and literacy programs in the area for kids. Maybe these Hurricane Maria families that are coming in, as well as kids who have lived there their whole lives. So it's more than the purse auction. It's really about being part of the community and showing your support.
And the money raised will go towards early childhood development and also child literacy. Those are 2 very important subjects, not only for the new families that have come into New Bedford in recent months, but also just day to day. These things are very, very important for youngsters. So, Victoria, again, how can we get tickets?
So you can give us a call at 508-994-9625 or on our website at unitedwayofgnb.org.
All right. Victoria Grasela, Director of Marketing for the United Way of Greater New Bedford. Thanks for the work your agency does.
And Jim, thank you so much for having me on to talk about some of the great work that we're doing.
Victoria said before we started to record the program, she said, gee, I live here in December. She does. She is part of the toy collection effort at Fund 107. Yes. She's also around here in November or so, the food collection program that we do at Buttonwood Park. Mm-hmm. So
we keep busy year-round.
Yeah. So it's great to see you again. The agency and the work you do, it's much needed in a place like New Bedford, certainly.
Yes.
And again, good luck with this fundraiser.
Thank you so much, Jim.
All right, Townsquare Sunday will return in just a moment.